He stood on the street corner, clutching an old backpack. Inside, there was nothing but a tattered notebook, a pen, and a crumpled shirt. The city lights blurred through his tired eyes as he wondered if this was all his life would ever be. Cold nights, empty stomach, and strangers walking by without a second glance. But this wasn't how it always was. Just a year ago, life had been normal. A steady job, a small apartment, and a dream to make something of himself. Then, in a single month, everything fell apart. The company he worked for shut down unexpectedly, and without savings, he couldn't keep up with rent. He was evicted, left with nowhere to go and no one to turn to. At first, he thought it was temporary. A week, maybe two, he told himself. But weeks turned into months. He slept under bridges, on park benches, and outside train stations. Hunger became a familiar feeling, and shame weighed heavier than his backpack. Sometimes, he'd walk into stores just to feel warmth for a few minutes. One night, as he sat outside a cafe, watching people enjoy their meals, something inside him shifted. A small child sitting by the window turned and smiled at him. That innocent, unknowing smile pierced through the darkness in his mind. It wasn't pity. It wasn't judgment. It was just kindness. That moment sparked a question. Why not try one more time? He didn't have money, he didn't have connections, but he still had his mind and his will. He pulled out the tattered notebook from his bag and began to write. Ideas, plans, anything that came to mind. The next morning, he walked to the local library, a place he hadn't stepped foot in since high school. There, he used the free computers to search for opportunities. He had no address, no phone number, but he had persistence. Every day he went back, applying for small jobs, reading about business ideas, and watching free tutorials online. Weeks went by with no responses, but he kept showing up. Then, one day, he stumbled upon an online post about freelancing. It was a simple task, creating designs for t-shirts. He didn't know much about graphic design, but he thought, why not try? He spent hours learning the basics, using free tools on the library computer. When he submitted his first design, the client loved it. The payment? $10. It wasn't much, but to him, it felt like a fortune. That $10 became $20, then $50. As the months went by, he took on more clients, improving his skills and building a small portfolio. He didn't spend a single cent on himself. Every dollar went into a savings account he'd opened at a local bank. Soon, he realized that his clients were asking for similar designs repeatedly. That's when an idea struck him. What if he created his own designs and sold them directly? Using his savings, he registered on an online platform to sell custom t-shirts. He worked tirelessly, often skipping meals to keep his costs low. The first few weeks were quiet. No sales, no messages. Doubts began to creep in again. But one evening, as he checked his account, he saw it. His first sale. Someone had purchased one of his designs for $20. That single sale felt like proof that he was capable of more. Sales began trickling in slowly at first. He reinvested every penny into creating better designs and marketing his small store. By the end of the year, he had enough money to rent a tiny studio apartment. It wasn't much, but it was his. A roof over his head, a bed to sleep on, a new start. With his confidence growing, he expanded his business. He reached out to influencers, offering them free designs in exchange for promotion. The strategy worked. His sales doubled, then tripled. Soon, he was hiring freelancers to help with his workload. The man who once slept on park benches was now managing a team of designers. But he didn't stop there. He began learning about other ways to grow his income, investing in online courses and networking with people in his industry. Over the next few years, his small t-shirt business grew into a full-fledged brand. His products were being shipped across the country, and he had employees who relied on him for their livelihood. One day, he walked past the cafe where that small child had smiled at him years ago. He stopped and stared at the window, remembering the hopelessness he felt that night. It was hard to believe that the man standing there now was the same person who had once slept on the streets. Today, he isn't just financially stable, he's a millionaire. But more importantly, he's built a life where he can give back. He donates a portion of his earnings to shelters and organizations that help the homeless, ensuring that others have a chance to find their way back, just like he did. His story is a reminder that no matter how dark life gets, there's always a spark waiting to be lit. Sometimes, it's a small moment, a smile, a kind word, or a simple act of kindness that can change everything. And sometimes, it's the decision to keep going, even when every part of you wants to give up. If you're ever feeling lost or stuck, remember this: rock bottom isn't the end. It's the foundation on which you can rebuild. The only thing you need to start is the belief that you can. And once you take that first step, the rest will follow.